You are listening to Essence, a podcast about story, journey, and self. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 12 of Essence, a podcast about journey, story, and self. And on today's show, I'm very pleased to invite a musical talent from one of my spiritual communities. So far on the show, you've heard many individuals from the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, which is one of the spiritual communities I'm part of in my own personal practice. But something, and I mention it here and there throughout the interviews, I'm also involved in other forms of spirituality, one of them being an African-Cuban tradition called Santeria, or more properly, Regla de Ocha, or Lukumi. My guest today comes from that tradition, and he is a musical talent that kind of erupted. I would say, I became aware of his work about a year and a half ago. His work centers on the pantheon of spirits that Lukumi work with. The Orishas, you may have heard of them from such shows as American Gods, for example, Oshun, Yamaya, Shango, Obatala. And so what El Conquistador does is he has been bridging his own musical background. He's been an artist since he was about 14, and he brings in the various styles that have influenced his life, hip-hop, classical, and he mentions them all in the interview, and he merges them with elements of the Lukumi sacred songs, which are a sacred technology, as one of the elders in the tradition calls it. They're praise songs, prayers, call songs, songs that are very specific to each of these individual spirits. And so he utilizes some of those songs and mixes them with his own musical kind of background to create absolutely stunning videos. They're absolutely gorgeous. Now, for the listeners who are listening to this, especially those who don't belong to the Lukumi or the Orisha community, it's important to understand a little bit of context around this, and you'll understand this and why certain questions are asked in the interview. Lukumi is a hierarchical religion. There is a priesthood that is initiated, and some of those priesthood will specialize in sacred songs and learning how to properly not only pronounce these sacred songs, but also how to utilize them in ritual and the ceremonies of the religion. And so what's important to know is that El Conquistador is not one of those initiated individuals. And we talk about that. We talk about how his music has been taken up in the community, how some of the elders who were not quite sure who he was and what his intentions were, how they have responded, and also some of the ways that he has learned some of these songs and utilized them in his music. And that's an important part of the conversation around not only his success, but also kind of where he has grown in his own spirituality around this. We certainly talk about his background. We talk about his journey to become this talent, and we talk about some of the influences in his life, as well as some of the other kind of ambitions musically he has, where he'd like to go next with some more secular music. Now, El Conquistador has asked if he can download this podcast and place it onto his own channel, so his viewers can see. And so if you're coming from El Conquistador's channel, my name is Ben Stimpson. I am a counselor in Ontario, Canada. I'm also an Orisha in Lukumi, and this podcast, Essence, is a repository of stories and journeys and personal self-development. I've asked that my link be put down into the bottom if you're interested in more interviews with other folk And if you're listening to this interview on my YouTube page or any of the other areas that I have this podcast placed, check the show notes out and go and check out El Conquistador's channel and his absolutely gorgeous music videos and other videos that he has posted there. It was a real delight to sit down with El Conquistador and to chat about his life, and I hope that you enjoy the interview as much as I thoroughly enjoyed having it with him. And without further ado, let's head into the interview. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have musical prodigy El Conquistador on the show today. Hello.
Hey, bendición, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You're very well. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule for coming on the show. El Conquistador is a New Jersey-based music artist who mixes his passion for music with his passion for African traditional spirituality. He has released music videos you can find on his YouTube page, and that I'll place in the show notes down below, as well as videos on various topics about the Orisha tradition. He is currently working on releasing a song for the Orisha Yemaya, which he hopes to release by June. His inspirations are Eminem, the French Cuban band Bay, and Lazaro Ross, a towering figure in the ATR music scene. El Conquistador, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So I was really looking forward to having you on the show. I've been enjoying your work since you kind of erupted in our spiritual traditions last year. Mm-hmm. I know you were doing song classes originally before that on your YouTube page, and my padrino was just falling in love with them. Like, we used several of them for our own song recitals. Mm-hmm. How did you? So, let's start at the beginning. Mm-hmm. You're 14 years old. Well, when you were 14 years old, music played a big part in your life. Tell us about kind of your journey in music. Where have you come from?
So I got into hip hop when I was about like 9 years old, but I didn't start playing piano until I was 14. So I always had and even like around 9 and before that, I just loved 90s pop music a lot. But taking it more seriously, like I want to create music, was when I was 14 and playing piano. And I remember just honing my skills, just being alone in my bedroom, having a little an electric keyboard, and listening to what was playing on the TV, be it commercials or anything, and just trying to listen what was being played, and then try and play it on the piano. Eventually mixing melodies from the piano and mixing hip hop, because I wanted to be able to rap too. So having inspiration from Eminem. And just loving piano and just mixing melody. I really, really have just a passion for melody. And then fast forward to like 21 years old. That's when I dove into Orisha spirituality and wanted to mix, okay, I have hip hop, I have melodies on piano. So now I want to make music for the Orisha, because granted, let's see, I'm 28 now, it's 2021. Now, Orisha music is more modern. You can find stuff like, like El Conquistador, eBay, El Huerfano, Wolf, Hawk, Jaguar. There's a few artists, not too many, but there's a decent amount of artists. But at that time, when I was 21, there was no hip hop mixing Orisha. There wasn't much modern Orisha music. So I wanted to create modern Orisha music, and now we're here. But I had to just learn the Lukumi so I can play the modern Orisha music. Right. But that's in a nutshell my my musical and spiritual journey. Just mixing from hip hop to melody, piano to now Lukumi, and now
somewhere else. You're heading out. You're heading all over the place now. You've started spreading, moving into more educational kind of information videos. You've started spreading outside of Orisha tradition. There was a couple of your songs connected with Espiritismo, which another tradition you grew up in, I understand.
Yeah, and I do want to add, yes, because I grew up in Puerto Rican Espiritismo Criollo, Puerto Rican Dominican. But I would like to add that the intention of making my YouTube channel was I wanted to create something for people like me I'm not a fluent speaker in Spanish, and most information that is available to the Orisha community is in Spanish.
Yeah.
And now Ocha, Santeria, La Regla de Ocha, whatever you want to call it, is rapidly gaining popularity. And unfortunately, a lot of the information is in Spanish. And I wanted to be a contributor to the musical community for people that want to learn the Orisha songs and honor Ochun when they go to the river, or honor their warriors if they have them, but with an English-speaking platform. That was really, really important. So yeah, it started off as an educational site just to learn a few songs, and now it snowballed into me talking about, maybe just various Orisha topics, right and wrong, and just having my music videos on there. But yes, it's Spiritismo I love, and Orisha I love. I dip and dabble into when it comes to talking about Palo or Voodoo, but I try and stick to what I know, which is Orisha and Spiritismo, which is what I was more raised in.
Right. That's wonderful. I remember some of your earlier videos. What's really struck me was kind of the care and the attention to detail you had. You had your little whiteboard, and you were you laid it out, and you went syllable by syllable, and you were very focused on not only pronunciation but really breaking it down for people who, even in our communities, sometimes I mean, as an English speaker, it can be sometimes very difficult to listen to Spanish speakers, not only because of the accent, but also because of how fast these songs can become.
Yeah, a lot of people mumble when they sing the Orisha songs. Not everybody, but a lot of people mumble when they sing the Orisha songs. A lot of people are just simply going too fast. And when you mumble or you go too fast with the Orisha songs, it's very easy to hear mistakes, and then you hear those and you think that that's the proper way to sing that song. A perfect example, I would say, is I've heard there's a song for Ochun which goes "Ide were were nita osuo, ide were were," very popular song. But I've heard it "Ite wele wele ita osuo, ite wele wele." It's very easy to get those mixed up. "Ide were were" is different than "Ite wele wele." And so I try and show you, because I'm a visual person. Okay, it's "Ide were," and just break it down and sing the songs at regular speed, singing it slow and trying to break it down so that people can see this is how you sing it. And if you hear a variation, then it's either a variation or it's incorrect. So, but that was my goal, to show people, give them a visual, this is how you pronounce this, and
Yes, yeah. It was a very effective way of doing it. I remember sitting with Padrino late at night. I used to live with him, and we and just going through those videos, and I mean, having a chance to stop and pause as well and practice, and but breaking them down and having that visual piece was very effective, especially as somebody who doesn't speak Lucanol or Spanish, right? So let me ask you then, let's dive into that transition period between those early song videos and the first music video you put out. And I believe it was for Shango, wasn't it?
No, it was for Legua.
Legua, right? Yes.
Yeah. I think it's up to like 40,000 views, man.
Wow. What?
I'm very proud of it. And you know what? My music videos have gotten better as time goes on, but for some reason, I mean, by that definition, Elegua is the worst video, because they've gotten better, just in quality. It was my first experience ever making a music video in my life. And so it was very, very difficult. And every video I try to make is always way too ambitious. I'm always trying to be freaking Steven Spielberg for a 5-minute video. But it's a song that when I do listen to it, which I don't listen to it often, I'm the kind of person, once I record it, I want to dive straight into let's make a video. Once I release the video, I listen to it, and I haven't listened to Elegua in like maybe a month. Before that, 5 months. Once it's gone, I release it to the world. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about it, because I'm on to the next music video. But Elegua, that's my first. That's my first one.
It was a shock. I mean, it was beautifully done.
and it was very cheeky. There was a lot of elements in there that when you come from these traditions, you can identify them within. It was very iconographic too. Beautiful, beautiful. It was just gorgeous. I mean, it really was, and it was such a shock because there wasn't, as you said, in our traditions, there aren't really many other artists who are doing this type of work in English. Definitely, there's a couple of Spanish. There's a lot of people in Brazil, but in English, there's not that much. So what persuaded you to kind of dip your foot in and do this video?
What I'll say before I answer that is after that music video released, it seems that a lot of people came out of the woodworks making a lot of Orisha music. I don't know if it's a coincidence. I'm not going to take credit for it, but I just say that I noticed when I dropped the Legua, now a bunch of people are coming out with modern Orisha music. I don't know. But what was my thoughts of putting out that video? As my first music video, the first song that I actually recorded, like my first Orisha song, was Ochun, and that was just in my boy's bedroom recording that. So the Elegua music video, I had a choice. I can't remember exactly what choices I had because I still do. I have many Orisha songs recorded. But I chose Elegua. I wanted something that was more upbeat and less rap because I love to rap. My inspiration, one of my biggest inspiration is Eminem. Practically the reason why I even started rapping. But I wanted a song that showed off my skill when it came to singing Lukumi, when it came to rapping, and when it came to just melody. And I think that Elegua is a good representation of that. It encompasses all of what I'm good at, and I put it into one video. That's why I chose it, because it wasn't too rappy, it wasn't too poppy, and it was just Lukumi enough to appreciate, he's singing Lukumi in the beginning of the song. So that's where my headspace was. I want to put out something that your average person can put in their car and appreciate it, and not say, no, I'm not trying to listen to gangster rap, or I'm not trying to listen to pop. I feel like it's a right mix.
Yes. Yeah, it's very catchy, and the visuals are stunning. I'm going to suggest that everybody go to your music channel and see it, because it is such it has such a huge amount of the culture and of the personality of Elegua, right? His various personalities. What was it like for you afterwards? Because I remember vividly starting to see kind of you posting it on various Orisha traditional groups. People in the community noticing you and saying, "Oh, look at this video that's been just dropped." What was some of the reaction to it?
It was actually when it got traction, it definitely was moving up quickly, like in terms of views. Everything was very, very positive. All my videos get a lot of positive traction. My headspace when it comes to the initial releasing of a song, especially for like a main music video, which I put so much time and effort into making. Elegua, Chango, Babaloye. Babaloye was like the most difficult video to make. But my headspace is I try to remain positive. But honestly, there is a fear in the back of my mind that says, "Damn, I put so much time, money, and effort that no one has seen. Everybody sees the final product, and they don't see that. Like in the Elegua music video, I was getting eaten alive by bugs, and I said, like it was hard. I was sweating, and it was hot, and I'm in the forest. Yeah. No, there's no fancy green screens or backdrops. Everything is real. So I'm just no shirt on in the middle of a forest, sweating with all these mosquitoes and whatnot. But so it's a labor of love, but there's honestly a fear inside of me that's thinking like, I don't think this is gonna work. It's not Spanish enough. I don't think people are gonna appreciate this. Because music is what I want to do with my life. Yes. So there's that fear in the back of my mind on this music video is gonna fail. It's not as good as it could be. Maybe you left out something that should have been there. But in those times, I try to remind myself, and even to this day, I have to constantly remind myself, make music because you love to make music videos because you love to make music videos, make the kind of content that you like. And if people happen to enjoy it and appreciate it, then great. If not, then at least you can say you did something, that you put your heart, blood, sweat, and tears into making this. You did your best. And if people don't like it, then so be it. But if it's something that I can bump in my own car, then I do my job.
Yeah. And there's you were saying before there was a wonderful quote by Nicki Minaj. What was that?
Yeah, that quote with Nicki Minaj, and I was watching like one of her just watching a YouTube video where she's talking about success and what it takes to be successful. And she said, make the kind of music that you want to listen to. Mm-hmm. And I try to always remind myself that. And actually, there's a quote by Lil Wayne where he says, make the kind of music that you want to listen to. Mm-hmm. How did it go? If you don't think that my music is cool, then I don't think you're cool. Basically saying, I make music that I like. And if you don't like it, well, then your taste in music must not be good. I try to stay keeping that frame of mind, like, yo, don't get too caught up in, I'm trying to be successful. And yes, I would love to sell at Madison Square Garden. I have big dreams. I'm a very ambitious guy. But just keep myself grounded and say, do what you love. You love your spirituality. You love music. And as long as you're doing what you love, all the money and accolades and fame and success that can come from it, that's not a necessity. Do it because you love to. If that stuff comes later, then that's a cherry on top. But the fact that you're doing what you love to do, and you have the resources to go to a studio, because I went from just YouTube, just putting on headphones and writing my little raps on YouTube, to now making full-blown music videos. I'm very blessed, and I have to remember where I come from. I came from just being a little boy in my bedroom with a journal and headphones, listening to YouTube and writing my little raps. And now I can say I have music videos and I have a small following. So I'm very blessed. I have to always remember where I come from, regardless of where it takes.
Yes. Very humbling. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, friends of mine who are also artists in some way, they always talk about when you start to get that big head, suddenly something will happen to knock you down. And that's really the universe coming down to just remind you of those roots, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's constantly reminding yourself like where you came from, and not getting too caught up, which, it's easier said than done, because I have such, like I said, I have such high goals and ambitions that in the back of my mind, I truly want, like, yo, man, I hope this video, man, I really hope, like, I'm hoping that this Yama music video that I want to put out, I hope it gets, like, yo, millions of views, and now I can, get signed and get a new house for my mom, the American dream. So, that's my desire. That's what I want for myself, and my family. But I'm doing what I love. I may not be making money off of it, but I'm doing what I love, and that should be good enough. Everything after that, I have my health, my muertos and my Orisha. I got health, I got a roof over my head, and I got food in my stomach. I should be content with that, But still striving. I want to sell the mask.
That's the thing, right? One step, yeah. So let me ask you then. I kind of like take this topic from a different way, because we've talked about kind of the musical ambition and the want to create beautiful art, but there's also that spiritual component too. And I know, like, early on, and like I saw some of the comments too, there was some confusion about what your intentions were in the community, especially by some of the elders. Some of the comments, they were thinking that you were wanting to be an akbon. There was a question like, are you an akbon? Are you becoming a religious singer, not an entertainment singer? I think by now most people figured that out. But what was that like to receive that feedback from elders?
What was it that you said, an akbon? What was it?
An akbon. They're the religious singers in our tradition.
An akbon. Oh,
yes, okay. Yeah. Sorry, my terrible way of pronouncing.
No. Okay, can you just ask again real quick so I can let it sink in? Sorry about
For
that.
sure, definitely. So at the beginning, there was some confusion in the spiritual community about what their intentions were. Some people some elders were asking, are you an Akbon? Are you trying to promote, like, are you becoming a religious singer, not an entertainment singer? There was some confusion about that. What was that like to, first of all, get that feedback? Because I saw the threads and you were really good on conversing with those questions.
Well, first off, I never, in any of my content and my entire music, my music career and my entire YouTube channel, I always make sure to give a disclaimer. I am no Akbon. I'm no Orisha. I'm no Oriate Babalao, this grand Babalao that's been traveling the world studying the language. I am a passionate musician who happens to incorporate Orisha into his music, incorporate spirituality into his music. But if I can learn enough to eventually be an Akbon, I think that would be dope. I think I look up to Lázaro Ross and Luca Randoli and people like Bembecito and all these wonderful great Akbons, those who are Ibaye and the ones that are still killing it out here. But I just want to be known as a passionate young man who makes music that he loves, who happens to incorporate Orisha into his music.
Yes.
I look forward to releasing my secular music that has nothing to do with Ocha. And even the song that I have for Yemaya that's coming out, the hook happens to be in Lukumi, and the bridge, so I incorporate Lukumi lyrics. But the inspiration for that song was, I want to make it where it's more of a plead to Yemaya. Not just talk about, oh, you're number 7 and you're the owner of the ocean. I wanted to make it where someone who's secular can listen to it and enjoy it, and someone who is in the Ocha community can enjoy it as well. Because I don't want to be pigeonholed into, oh, that's the Orisha singer guy,
right?
Who just makes modern Orisha. I look up to people like they, where they do a beautiful job of balancing their spirituality and their love for just secular music. That's my goal. So
that's what I wanted to ask you about. Because so many of your music videos so far have been of religious nature, but even people in like the pagan community or even like secular community have been seeing them, and they're stunning pieces all by themselves, even if you don't necessarily understand the spiritual and religious components. But when you do understand both, they're even more spectacular. But I was curious about that, kind of who do you see as your audience, and how do you cater to both people?
I definitely see, first and foremost, the Ocha community. This was my game plan, bro. Check this out. This was my game plan. I said, I want to follow the template of Selena Quintanilla, who didn't speak Spanish, and she wanted for the life of her to make an English-speaking album. But she had her niche, which was the Spanish-speaking market. And then eventually she crossed over. I figured for myself, let me cater to the niche community that I am a part of, the Ocha community. And then eventually, when I get my bearings and I have I guess, large enough audience, then I can show, hey guys, you like my Orisha music? Well, check out my regular music where I'm talking about other topics, not just how great Elegua is and Omakala and all the Orishas, which, I love them. But hey, I have a life too. We're talking about be it love, romance, desires, ambitions, and having a good time that has nothing to do with the Orisha, just straight secular music and storytelling. So that's my goal. I want to put out a song, yes, for Yemaya, but I also hopefully in this year I want to put out more music about me, just talking about me that has nothing to do with the Orisha. But I wanted to grab my audience through the Orisha community, and then eventually say, hey, you enjoyed my song for Yemaya? Hey, check out this poppy love song that I made because I liked. I like people like Nicki Minaj and Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber. I don't just listen to Lázaro Ross again and again. I listen to Biggie and Pac and Eminem and Cardi B. So, but that's my plan. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting point about being pigeonholed, right? When you do so much content around it, like a facet of your personality, switching over and moving into different areas, there's opportunity, but there'll also be, I mean, what's that process like when you think about kind of branching out and moving into other topics? What's that like for you? Like, how do you conceptualize that for yourself?
I'm a strong believer that my quality will speak for itself. I know that it may throw some people off, like, yo, how come you suddenly have a love song or just a straight rap song? Like I have 2 rap songs, Shots Fired Part 1 and Part 2, and I try and incorporate hip hop into all my music videos. I did Love It All Yeah rapping. So I know it's gonna throw some people off, but I'm very passionate about what I do, and I trust that the music that I make, the quality will speak for itself. So when I describe it, so when I do suddenly put out a love song, a poppy song, or just a straight hip hop song, just talking about my life or struggles, that it will also gravitate to the same people that are used to my Orisha music. Because I put the same dedication that I put into making quality Orisha music, I'm putting 150% into my non-Orisha music. And that's where my mind is. I'm not worried about, are people going to look at me differently because I'm making different music that has nothing to do with Orisha. I'm looking at it as, this is the me that you currently know. Will get to know other parts of me, and this is what I have to offer. And when people hear it, there's not a doubt in my mind that people are going to enjoy it, because I put so much, the same effort that I put into making these complicated ass videos and lyrics and effort, I put into my secular music too. I was making secular music before I was making anything that had to do with Orisha. I didn't get involved in Orisha until I was like 20 years old.
Right.
And I'm 28 now. So I've been making, I would be yelled at in high school, told to stop banging on the tape, stop rapping, stop playing the piano. So it's taking more effort to make Orisha music than it is to make non-Orisha music. But I let my quality speak for itself. If a person wants to like it, then I'm glad. This is just more of me. This is more El Conquistador. If not, well, then listen to my old Orisha music.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, that's a huge lesson that is good for any of us to know, is to not cater so much to other people and just stay true to that sense of self, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. You got to stay true to yourself. If you're not making music for you and doing whatever it is that you do, your art, because you love it, I don't care if it's making music or it's cooking or it's architecture, whatever. If you're not doing what you love, then there's just this inner void that's not going to get filled. I don't care how much you can make money doing something that you don't love, but I rather make a little doing what I do love than make a lot and just having to drag my feet to work every day, being a doctor or a lawyer or something.
It said like a true storyteller right there, a storyteller. Let me ask you then about that storytelling. You raised that point before when you were talking about your other projects that you want to get into. How have you seen your music in general, not just specific Orisha, but in general, how has your music shifted over the past, 10, 15 years?
I would say my musical palette has influenced how my music has changed. So I would say in the beginning of my music journey, all I would listen to was just Eminem. So everything that I made sounded like Eminem. And then when I got to around 14 and playing the piano, it was still hip hop, but there was people like Fat Joe and Lil Wayne. It was like middle school, high school, and music became more melodic. In the later half of high school, I was listening to a whole lot of doo-wop, and that made me appreciate melody even more. So now that I'm 28 now, I try to incorporate all the things that I've been gravitating towards. Be it, I really enjoy the wordplay of Eminem and Big Pun, but I really, really enjoy the melodies of 1950s doo-wop and the groups there. I really enjoy 90s pop, all the groups that guys want to be like, no, I don't dance to that, I don't dance to that. But then when it turns on, they dance with people like the Spice Girls, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. All of them are so dope. I enjoy them. And so you'll notice when you listen to my music, the fact that it has melody and certain melodies, you'll be like, oh, that sounds like he got inspiration from the 50s, the 90s. And I have no problem giving credit to where credit's due, you know? So it's just an amalgamation, like where I am now is just an amalgamation of so many different just time frames. The 90s pop, 90s hip hop, just being lyrical. I try and be as lyrical as I can without being too, I'm not trying to be big pun. I want to be able to get my message across, but still make it singy enough, and that's where like, okay, my inspiration from Drake comes in because he raps, but he sing raps,
Yeah.
So I know I'm just going off and off. Continue.
No. I'm enthralled because all of those people are people I grew up with as well, right? And like, I mean, Drake's from Toronto, Justin Bieber's from Toronto up here, Eminem was just over the border in Michigan, right? And like, I vividly remember when I'm 34, so not much older than you. Growing up with those in a different, like in the Canadian community up here, yeah, but like, I mean, high school is high school, right? Growing up and having those kind of influences, and now looking back on them, and the weekend.
Yeah, oh my God, and Bruno Mars, but the Weeknd is from Canada, but Bruno Mars got a crazy voice. Draw inspiration from him. I'm not a great singer, but I do enjoy singing, and the Weeknd, beautiful songwriter.
Yeah.
Even Enya, beautiful songwriter. Lady Gaga, incredible songwriter. Sia, incredible songwriter.
Yeah.
So
and all of them have identities too.
Yeah.
They have particular identity. Like yourself, you have an identity, right? They have their process, they have their identity. They, it's even if they change, Pink, another one, all the way through from when she was, 2000 to now, you can see the evolution, but she's in that all the way through, right?
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with change. I think a lot of people, they may say, oh, I wish we had the old XYZ. I wish we had the old Eminem or the old Pink or whatever. There needs to be evolution. You need to change with the times, and you can't keep making the same music again and again and again, because eventually it's going to get stale. The act is going to get old. So people like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Fat Joe, people that have had 20 plus year careers and they're still relevant today because they're not so rigid as to, this is me, this is how I'm not gonna, you have to be able to change while being authentic to yourself. There's Taylor Swift is another one. And J-Lo, that's J-Lo from the block. But Taylor Swift said that she feels very blessed that she can look in the mirror every day, and at the end of the day, at the end of a long show, whatever, doing whatever she does, that she can look in the mirror and be able to look at herself and say, like, good job, and not feel like she had to betray who she was or her moral compass and her ethics to get the job done. I want to be able to do that as well.
Let me ask you then. When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
I see a very ambitious young man who's also full of self-doubt from that ambition as well. Because I always grew up, I was in a household where me saying, I want to sell at Madison Square Garden, hey mom, I want to be a rapper, that's never going to happen. Go be a doctor. Right. It was always go to school. And so now to this day, I'm proud of who I see in the mirror, because I'm glad that I did what I wanted to do. Granted, I did get my degree. I went to school. My mom wanted me to get a degree. I got a damn degree. But I'm proud of myself that I'm doing what I love to do now, and I'm taking the efforts and the steps to be the entertainer that I want to be, a grand artist. But admittedly, yes, there's a lot of self-doubt that I got to work through every day. And just some days that I wake up sad, just feel like, yo, man, this shit isn't going to work. Like, you've been doing this for so long. You've been wanting this since you were a kid, and you're still just a little person on YouTube now. whoop-de-doo. So it's a process, but all in all, some days are better than others, but I'm very happy with how I've turned out. If I died today, I would be proud of myself. I did what I wanted to do with my life, and I'm making music.
Yes.
And I'm making damn good music.
Yeah. I would have been shocked if you had turned around and said, I don't have any doubts. I would have been shocked, because I feel like anybody who's a creator, I'm a creator in a different way, but anybody who's a creator, if those doubts aren't there, I would question. Because I feel like when you're a creator, and I'd love to hear your point of view on this, when you're a creator, you're constantly in that place of vulnerability. You're constantly in that middle space between your vision and your needs and your wants and your kind of what you want your art to be, and then everybody else and how they see it and how they perceive it and how they receive it. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier, that I try to make the content that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I think what breeds so much self-doubt in me is because for my entire life, because I grew up with my mom, not with my father. I grew up with my mom. And so that was, she was the nagging voice that was always saying, this is what you want to do with your life. It's not good enough. You're not good enough. You can't make it. What you're dreaming it's too big. Be realistic. That was a big one. You have to be realistic.
Be realistic, right?
And I know it all came from a place of love, but also a lot of it was, instead of, she didn't say like, oh, you're not good enough, but it was always, oh, only 1 in a million make it. You're better off just go be a nurse, go to nursing school or something. So this was going on my entire life. What I want to do with my life, simply not possible, not doable. Get your head out of the clouds. You're wasting your time. And so this is always nagging at me. And that voice of self-doubt, it's just something that as an artist, and I would just give, to any artist, it's just something for you to deal with. And you either choose to give in and put down what you love so that you can satisfy the whims of someone else.
Yes.
Or you continue to do it, even if you don't have too much time, maybe you don't have too much time on your hands to do what it is you're passionate about, but you're going to find the time somewhere. We all make time to what we want to make time for. So when it comes to that nagging, you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're too untalented, or you don't look good enough, or whatever it is, it's just something to deal with. I wish it was just a button that just to turn it all away. There's not, and I'm sure the people that have made it to the top, they still get those self-doubts. Oh, you're not good enough. And it's just something to deal with. So there's no clear fix as to how do you remove that self-doubt. It's going to be there sometimes from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, and you could have had a wonderful day, but you're still telling yourself, I don't think it's going to work out. Tomorrow's going to be bad. It's just life. What are you going to do?
That's true. It is just life, right? I cannot think of any single person in my life who doesn't have doubts in some way, right?
Yeah, it's normal. I don't think it's something where a person needs therapy over it, but as long as you continue, the thing is, if you give up and you get into those thoughts of self-doubt, well, then there you go, you lost. It's not our. Oh, hold on. Hello?
You're here.
Oh, no, my alarm went off. It's not our thoughts that define us. It's our actions. So if my thoughts are saying, yo, I'm not good enough, and this music video, okay, you're gonna put all this effort into Yemaya, it's gonna flop. And the last videos haven't done as good as you thought they would. You thought that you would be signed by now or in a better place by now doing performances. You're still just a guy in his room making these little videos. There's nothing wrong with those thoughts. It's, do I allow it to keep me down? Or am I going to say, screw it? No, I'm going to make another video and hope this one works out. Yeah. That's it. Do what you love because you love to do it, and forget about everything else. Yeah. Even if you have that voice telling you you're not good enough.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing that what you're speaking about there speaks to the relationship with the self-doubt and how you decide to take it up, right? You know, yeah, very much.
It's self-doubt. Shoot, some people got more than others. Like, I wish I had the confidence of Kanye West. He seems to never have no damn self-confidence issues. But I'm a human being. I remember seeing a video with Diddy, and he was like, "Oh," the lady was like, "Have you ever doubted yourself?" And he's like, "No, I've never doubted myself. I've always believed in myself." Yo, I doubt myself almost every single day, bro. It doesn't mean that I'm like this super depressed person, but when it comes to my art, I'd be doubting myself every single day. But and so I look in the comments like, yo, someone said the music helped them today. Okay, I feel a little bit better. It's just something that I got to deal with, and hopefully at some point it'll be less of a problem. But because as a kid, I was always told I wasn't good enough, and all my dreams and aspirations weren't good enough or realistic, and I was wasting my time. After a while, that does something to your psyche.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know there's someone watching out there where their mom or dad did the same thing. I don't know if it's just like when it comes to Hispanics too. When it comes to Hispanic parents, they're like the least supportive when it comes to your dreams, yo. I was, some people, oh yeah, my mom and dad were really supportive with what I wanted to do, and I made it to the top. Nah, man, like my entire life has been, you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. Everything you want to do with your life is a waste of time. Go be a doctor instead. So now I'm still dealing with it at 28. Even the same thing happened to Jennifer Lopez. Her mom kicked her out because she wanted to be a singer, and her mom kicked her out and didn't believe in her.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm not, but I honestly think, like coming from the UK myself, right? And like how, meeting a lot of Hispanic parents and Wellas especially, right? There's this weird, I think it's just North America. North America is so insulated with the whole, you can be anything, the American dream. Yeah, you're amazing. You're perfect all the time, right? Yeah. You go to anywhere else in the world and you'll have, like, it's constantly, what will the neighbors think? Oh, don't change your hair color. What will the neighbors think? Don't be too big or people will look down on you. All of this, right? It's a weird North American, I would say, white thing, because it's coming here. Like when I go home to my parents, and I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but I try and say, oh, I've been doing this podcast and I'm on episode 10. They're like, oh, no interest.
That's the same thing with my mom, dude. But God bless her. I know it comes. I think it just, at least from the North American point of view, it comes from just trying to get by, just survive, because the time that my mom and her parents came from. As long as you survived, you were living the American dream. You're not trying to change the world. You just want your bills paid. As long as your bills are paid, you have a roof over your head, you can take care of your wife and your kids, you did your job, and you might as well have, you did it all. And now they're telling their kids, as long as you can just survive, that's success. But we're growing up in an age where now we do see people like, hey, this person is 16 making it big at doing what they love and this and that. But we still have the parents saying, no, it's too big. You're never going to make it. Be realistic. Just pay your bills. But I think that's where it stems from. Just our parents and their parents have always taught us, as long as your bills are paid, you're good. That's all you need to strive for, and that is the definition of success. So now our generation, we're getting told by our parents to be realistic and just pay our bills, but we're seeing others make it. Those who do break out and make it, doing what they love. So it's just a constant tug of war between, I want to do what fulfills my heart, and still, honor my mom, and do my best, and be like, no, I want to do more than just pay bills, mom. But
intergenerational thing. It is crazy. I mean, I look on like these TikTok stars, and they're making multi-million-dollar from prank videos, and I'm like, I'm sitting here having a beautiful apartment, but like, come on, yeah. But I wonder about that, and I want to ask you about that because what you brought up before, like Diddy, saying, "Oh, I have no self doubts. I'm completely comfortable." And like 10 years ago, I remember in hip hop, that projection of being perfect, surrounded by beautiful women or beautiful men, depending, right? Dripping in gold, like cash everywhere. And in other forms of like other genres of music, that idea of success, like, you have to put this out there and project that. You didn't hear many of them talk about doubt back then. You didn't hear many of them talk about struggles. Even Eminem, I mean, look at Eminem and D12. A lot of their earlier videos were very much of that. And then his music started to change and he talked about his struggles. And now, like, his music is all about his struggles, right? Do you think that it's a cultural thing in music that projected that to this generation?
I would say it was a cultural thing more in hip hop. Now hip hop is the dominant genre, number one genre in the world. And I would say, that even that has, since growing up in that music, it has influenced my idea of success. I have to keep in mind, okay, success is doing what you love because you love to do it. And as long as it changes one heart, then you did your job. But I still get thoughts of, yo, man, I want to be surrounded by friggin' Victoria's Secret models dripping in diamonds and getting chauffeured in limousines. And I still want that, that's part of the American dream, It's just a life of fame and debauchery and acting crazy, just touring the world and just living that rock star. What's that phrase? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So I think it was influenced. 10 years ago when music, at least in hip hop, it wasn't talking about struggles. You have to like dig deep to find the songs talking about struggle. So I think it's more on the listener to, if you want to find songs that are more about struggles and lack of confidence and whatnot, like real struggles, not Lil Pump, then you have to dig deeper. But yeah, that has influenced my idea of what success is, and I have to remind myself, no, keep yourself grounded, man. If God willing, you do make it to where you want to be, then keep your head on your shoulders. Don't be thinking that now because you got money and your name is in lights that you're suddenly gonna be this friggin' playboy and be Hugh Hefner and live like Diddy and Rick Ross. And no, be a good, humble guy, and just continue to do what you love to do because you love to do. And that's it.
Yeah. There's a danger in kind of becoming somebody else through that process. I think of Madonna, right? Look at the bitter individual that Madonna has become because she's no longer the star. She's no longer the queen. She's no longer up there. She's suddenly got all of these people who've surpassed her, and now she's bitter on Instagram talking smack about Lady Gaga.
I haven't seen enough about Madonna. I don't know too much, but I know she's the queen of pop, but I don't know. I'm not in the loop of what's going on with her.
I follow her because I used to love her music, and I do. I mean, a lot of her early music I really resonate with. But she's one of those examples of people who she created this fantasy life, and she wanted to become so attached to that fantasy life. But she lost herself in the process. And then all these other stars are coming up, like Lady Gaga, like Katy Perry, like Nicki Minaj, and they're just themselves. Like what you see on the screen is them. At least that's what's being projected, right? And Madonna is because her time was 30 years ago, right? 40 years ago, someone.
Yeah, man, we're already in 2020, 2021, and her heyday was 1985. Come on.
Yeah. I know, right? I know.
No, for me, it's not something that I worry too much about. I know there's always going to be ebbs and flows when it comes to a career. When it comes to, you got to be careful with how much success you get because it can be a curse. I think as long as you have the right people around you, then you should be good. I don't think there's anything wrong with having with having wealth and that kind of lifestyle, as long as you have the right people around you. If you have a bunch of yes men around you and everybody's around you just wants to get high and have friggin' orgies and be high all damn day, then yeah, your life is going to go to shit. But there are plenty of positive examples where you make it to the top, but you're a decent human being. People like Bono and I don't know, just people that don't get caught up. They make it to the top, but they do not get caught up in the drugs and the women and exaggerant lifestyle, and they have to have a friggin' $50,000 gold toilet to piss in. So as long as you're surrounded by the same people that you came up with and not a bunch of yes men, then you should be good. So it's something that I don't worry about, because I truly feel that if tomorrow it came out, oh, you're the biggest star in the world, I'd be very happy, and might even honestly get a little arrogant, but I wouldn't be this I'm holier than thou and now I'm the greatest thing to be born and I'm just the greatest. And no, I'll still be this down to earth guy, maybe a little bit more prideful and like, yeah, hell yeah, I made it. But I want to be able to tell everybody that doubted me and all the teachers that told me to be quiet while I was tapping on tables because I wanted to rap in the middle class. There is going to be a different air about me. I think when your circumstances change, there is bound to be a change. That's just natural. You can't be the same person that you were when you came up. Now that you made it, you have to evolve. You have to adapt. Yes. It doesn't mean that you're a dick to everyone. So I don't think that would happen to me because I know myself. But I would be a different person because you have to be a different person as you progress in life. You're not going to be the same person. Let's say you're doing small podcasts and interviews now, and now you're the #1 interviewer on freaking CNN. I can't expect you to be the same person that you are right now. There's going to be something changing you, and it doesn't need to be for the worse. It could be for the better.
Yeah, that's
evolution, change, development in your character.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you picked that up because, I mean, kind of coming back to spiritual topics too, that is such a huge component of Lukumi. That's a huge component about working with Orishas and having Orishas in your life is that development piece. I mean, when you were describing about living it up and having a wonderful life, I was reminded of Shango, right? The king. He is a stern individual. He has certain bravado, or Orisha, I should say. He has a certain reputation of bravado, but there's also responsibility in that piece too, right?
Yeah, I think we have to remember the Orisha. These are the Patakis. They're stories that talk about them, but there are also Orisha, there are also spirits that have overcome all of these, mundane, these things of worldly existence, and they are elevated beings. So when people say, oh no, I'm a child of Chango, so that means that I blow up and get super angry because I'm a child of Chango. No, Chango, he's above that. They're super elevated. Just because you're a child of Chango doesn't mean that you can be addicted to people and say, oh, because I'm a womanizer, or I'm a blow up. Or, I'm just a child of Ochun or Yemaya. So, I'm just crazy like that because that's my mom, Ochun, so I'm crazy. No, just because you're a child of Yemaya, you should stop being a vindictive person. Just because you're a child of Watala, stop being a crazy person. The Orisha have, they're above all that. They're, these are stories, and you may exhibit some traits of them, but I think it's important for us to take personal responsibility. If I make a mistake in my life, me being a child of Watala, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm an alcoholic because I'm a child of Watala. No, Watala, yes, he has stories. Oh, he overdrank and created the world. Yada, yada. No, he's above all that. Now, all the Orisha, they're above all that. Because if that were the case, then Chango would still be this arrogant drunk who just wants to sleep around with women. Yeah, there's stories pinpointing certain parts in their life, but now they're all elevated. They're above all that. Yeah, and they all have their stories of redemption.
Absolutely,
caminos and whatnot. So the Chango you want to refer to, the young Chango. Well, there's old Chango where he's past that, and the young Obatala is not the same as the old Obatala. They're past all that.
Yeah.
So I forgot what the hell I was talking about. But
No, it's beautiful. That's a good answer to the question. No, but to kind of launch off of that to my final question for you, and I've really enjoyed our chat today.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you.
Throughout your experience over the past 10 years, or even since you were 14,
Mm-hmm.
and especially stepping into doing music videos with such that spiritual connection, and also thinking about your own kind of secular music, what have you learned about yourself throughout this whole process?
I've learned that I'm a lot more resilient than I thought. I'm very proud of myself for taking this journey, something that no one has ever encouraged. No one, granted, I was born into the Orisha tradition, but it was never anything that was ever pushed on me or encouraged. My goals, my dreams and aspirations of being a music artist has never been something that was encouraged. So my spirituality has never been something that was encouraged for me. Neither has my goals and aspirations have never been encouraged for me. And I don't think that me saying it shows how resilient I am. Maybe that's appropriate. But I did everything that I wanted to do for myself and my own life because I wanted to do it. Is that the right term for me to say it shows my resilience? I don't know. I'm self-motivated. I learned that I'm very self-motivated. It's something that I'm very proud of. And even when I was told, no, don't be a music artist because there's no money there, be realistic. No, there's no need to be involved in Orisha, or stop praying too much. Why are you always praying? Always, what's the word? Discouraging me. Oh, my entire life was especially as a teenager, always being discouraged. Even in my 20s, always discouraged. Everything I did wasn't good enough, but I'm still doing what it is I want to do.
Yeah.
And I learned that I'm very resilient. What I want to do, what I say I'm going to do, I do it. You know, either it's stubborn or it's this innate desire to not allow anyone to tell me what I am and what I'm not capable of. That's what I learned about myself, because my entire life always being told, no, you cannot, or no, you can't, no, it's not possible. And even though I'm not where I want to be, I thank God that I'm not where I used to be.
Right.
You know, so I would say that's the biggest thing that I learned about myself, that I'm resilient. And when I want something, I'll go for it. Is that the right way to
I would say so. Yeah, resiliency. There's almost a piece in that too around shifting the narrative too, right? Not accepting somebody else's narrative of your life and just focusing on your own.
Yes, no, wonderfully said. Thank you. No, so that's another thing. I learned to not accept someone else's narrative for my life, because we all know how to live someone else's life. If you were to ask, I'm sure you asked your parents or your closest friends, hey, if you gave me advice of what should I do next in my life, everybody would have an answer for you.
Yes.
Everybody knows how to rule someone else's life, but no one knows what to do with their own damn life.
Yes.
So, but I've made the conscious choices. I want to be involved in Ocha, and I want to have a music career, and I want to make a YouTube channel. I want to make music, and I don't ask people for anything. I've worked and done my own music videos. I've worked and paid the derechos for my own Orisha, for my own spiritual life. I never asked anybody for shit. I don't know if you can say that, but
you can. No, it's my YouTube channel. I allow it.
everything that I have is because I worked for it. And so it feels very good to know, like, yo, I wanted to make music, and now I'm making music, even though I was told it can't be done. I want to be involved in this spirituality. I was told, no, just be a normal person and just don't need to get involved. No, I followed my heart, and I paved my own path. I paid for my own shit, and I don't ask anything of anyone. Pay for my own damn car. I'm good. I pay my own damn bills, and I'm happy. I can stand on my own 2 feet, and I'm very happy about that. So I learned that I'm a resilient young man who's just doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
And if other people can appreciate that, wonderful. If not, then at least I got my own music to play in my own car.
That's beautiful. That right there is probably the intention of your mom and like all of the parents in your community, right? To get to that place of contentedness, but it always comes out as, oh well, yeah, right?
No, I don't live in a mansion. Like, what do you want? Like, oh, you should be a doctor. My mom saying, so go to nursing school. I don't want to be a damn nurse. So I went to school and I got my bachelor's in communications, and I did the whole thing, and I spent 7 years getting a degree that I wasn't even interested in. So, yeah, 7 years,
right,
to please someone else. And I said, you know what? I'm done. I got my degree. I put it in my hand, and I said, this is for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do me. Now I'm making music videos, and I'm doing what it is, what the hell I want to do in my life.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm not sure what else to ask you now, so I think that's a good place to end it in.
Okay. Yo, shout out to your godparents, bro. Shout out to your godparents.
Definitely. Madrina and Padrino are looking forward to watching this afterwards. I look forward to watching Yemaya when it drops. I am really looking forward to seeing what you do with that. And I hope that you'll accept coming back on for show at some point and having
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, and also, before Yemaya, like, I'm in the process of recording Yemaya.
Okay.
And I want to do a simple music video at the beach. But I also want to do a music video for a song we did for Oba Nyewa. Oba Nyewa, 2 Orishas, 2 women of the cemetery. So I already have the song done, so now I got to do that music video.
Wonderful.
So,
well, I look forward to that.
Oba Nyewa, that's 1 music video, and Yemaya.
Beautiful. Well, you create absolutely stunning art, and I cannot wait to see it. And I hope to have you back on the show at some point.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you. And so if people are interested, I'll put the information down below. But how can people connect with you if they want to see your stuff?
Oh yes. So my main platform is YouTube. Literally, if you just type in my artist name, El Conquistador, so El Conquistador, and you'll find me, El Conquistador Ochun, El Conquistador Chango. You'll see my music videos. But if you just type in El Conquistador, you will find me. On Instagram, I'm El Conquistador Music. On Facebook, I'm El Conquistador. Everything is El Conquistador. My email, elconquistadormusic1@gmail.com. So as long as you just type in El Conquistador somewhere, you'll find me. And I have my picture on all of them. Oh, and I wanted to add in, shameless plug, for people that want to learn the Orisha songs, I make books for people that want to learn the songs. I put a ridiculous amount of heart and effort into typing out meticulously all the Orisha songs that are available free online, typing them all out, entire albums, typing them out, and that's another just a contribution that I try to do for the Orisha community. And it's been a pleasure hearing the feedback. Like, yo, man, the books, there's so much. Like, Chango has like 350 songs.
Wow, that's a huge amount of work.
Yes,
it is. Huge amount of work.
Understandable. It's been a pain in the ass, but a true labor of love. So, for people that want to learn the songs, if you're working Orishas, you need to know the song for Osai. Boom, I got you. But yeah, that's my YouTube is my main thing. Even Messenger. I'm always inviting people. Yo, hit me up on Messenger. I love to have conversations about spirituality with you, so don't be a stranger. Just look me up.
That's good.
I'm everywhere, bro.
No, that's good, because sometimes people can be, especially in our community, they can be hesitant to reach out to other people in the community because of hierarchical stuff and cultural stuff and all of that. So to have that invitation, that's excellent.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the Orisha community is, in general, I think it's way too cliquey. And I've gone to various, of course, I'm not going to say no names. I don't want no one to feel disrespected. But I've gone to various persons to, hey, I want to learn the Orisha songs. Can you teach me? And either people don't got the time, or you get their contact and they just never hit you back, and it's always giving the runaround. So I wanted to create a channel and these books, the Orisha books, for people that do want to learn about the Orisha spirituality, people that do want to learn the Lukumi songs. but unfortunately, people just are not willing to teach nowadays. Either they don't have the time, or they don't want to put in the effort. I say, if you had no intention of teaching anybody, then you shouldn't have been a godparent in the first place. Mm-hmm. Shots fired. So, these books and my channel, I hope that I can just be a positive influence on the Orisha community for people that do want to learn the songs, and they can learn in the comfort of their own home and enjoy the music videos and something that's in English for people like you and me that aren't, fluent. And I just want to be a positive influence on the Orisha community, and I can look back at these videos and say, you did a good job, man.
You did a good job. Well, you are doing a good job. From one member of the Orisha community, you are doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Peace out.